Hey everybody, welcome to BrickVault. Today is the Sunday Top 10 MOCs of the Week episode where we show off the coolest custom creations we happen to see people building in LEGO throughout this last week. Like always, there's a ton of extra builds. This week might actually be a record for extra links in the description below. So not just the top 10, but everything that is flashing by the screen also, and so much more. I gotta say, there's something in the air this week. There just seems to be a lot of really unique, very creative ideas and concepts being played around with in LEGO, and all I gotta say is keep up the good work because we're really liking all the cool, weird, interesting, creative connections that you happen to be making in bricks. This week, the custom build that has gone up in the web store is the DeLorean Time Machine, the Ultimate Collector Series DeLorean Time Machine from the designer Dave Slater. It's an absolute beast of a build. I'd be hard-pressed to find any DeLorean that looks as good as the one that he has created here in LEGO Bricks. The angles are wonderful. There's tons of functions. The interior is well decked out, and of course the wheels do fold down like it can fly. So anyways, if you wanted to build this thing yourself, the instructions can be found at our web store. That's www.brickvault.toys. Any form of support is incredibly helpful for us here at the channel, as well as the designers that we work with like David. Now let's jump into the top builds of the week. Let's start off with something a little bit conceptually easy. We have the LSF009 Firebird by Ryuhei. Sorry, I don't know how to say your name, but there was something about this particular speeder and or futuristic spaceship or jet hovercraft that really caught my eye. It's got a very similar feel to Porco Rosso's plane, with of course the bright red as the main color, a little bit of white highlights, and ultimately just a classic, simple, sleek shape for this ship. The stabilizing fins on the side built from Technic I think are what really grabbed me, and the style of this build makes this thing both look futuristic and also old-timey, like it was developed back in the 1940s or something. Number 9, moving down, was built by Benjamin Steinland. It's called Streets of Nar Shaddaa. So yes, this does make it a Star Wars build. The look of those speeders was not an accident, and what I essentially chalk this build up to is a really nice street fight chase scene set in a cyberpunk looking city. It's within the Star Wars universe, but you can see just all kinds of weird characters, wonderful lighting, awesome builds for speeders, with the added benefit of an actual car chase or hover speeder chase set within a series of really nice looking techniques, and also a wonderfully colorful world, despite the fact that this is supposed to be a pretty dark and drab place. Number 8, moving down, is from the wonderful designer Eero, Okkonen. It is called Tea Ceremony in Japanese Garden. Stylistically, there were a lot of smart choices made by the designer. The inside of the studs are on the outside of the samurai armor to show that it's a different texture. That was a smart choice. Those quarter round tile pieces making up what I would assume is a floral pattern on the woman is amazing. On the female character, I especially like the minifigure hands used for eyes. And the last detail I'm going to point out is that the sword in its sheath is just wonderful. I think that's probably just a flexi tube put into those different Technic pieces, and you get a curved sheath. It's a really fun technique. Lots of other fun details to check out on this one. And then this might be my favorite one of the week. I just love the movie Akira a lot, and when people make Akira builds out of LEGO, it's usually Kaneda's bike or Tetsuo starting to morph into a blob, but Thorsten Bonsch has created a wonderful scene where Tetsuo is getting attacked while trying to find Akira's containment unit. Just like the Streets of Nar Shaddaa build, it's not just a wonderful large-scale sci-fi scene, but it's also a slice of time and frozen action. Here you can see the streak of machine gun fire and the bullets bouncing off of the pavement or the metal walkway of the elevator shaft. That detail there is very simple, but also looks stylistically just wonderful within this setting. This has nothing to do with LEGO, but if you haven't seen the movie Akira yet, I highly recommend it. And now let's move on to a very wide open, peaceful, serene setting. It's called Turning Loop Module 1. I think that's just a piece of probably what's a much larger train setting, built by the designer Steffen Rau. Now this slice of life is exactly the type of world that I would love to see procedurally generated by a massive MMORPG type style LEGO game that doesn't exist now, but hopefully might in the future. Please LEGO make this game and make your open worlds look as cool and as pretty and as beautiful and as open as the world that Steffen has created here. The brick stacking technique of basic 1x1s and plates that slowly layer on top of each other to make sloping hills that go up the mountains is this kind of timeless look. It really is the original look that LEGO had when they were first creating bricks, and on a large scale like this in a huge setting, it really can turn into something quite beautiful. None of the building techniques here look particularly advanced, but that's not really the point. It's just a wonderful scene, it's huge, and I think the designer really has an eye for setting a wonderful scene, like sort of like a painting or something. Now for the build number 5, Chris has done a classic space modern rendition of a build, which normally I try to stay away from unless they're super good, and guess what? This one is super good. I didn't even notice it at first, not at least at first glance, but this fun, cartoony, classic space, color-schemed sci-fi build has the ability to fold into a rolling suitcase. Why? I don't know what he did to get inspired the way he did get inspired to make his build like this, but from the looks of it, it looks like you can actually fold this whole thing into a rolling suitcase. I don't know if it can just look like a rolling suitcase and not actually roll around without falling apart, or if it is indeed functional this way. The fact is, it can fold into a rolling suitcase, and that's just something in and of itself. By the way, looking close, the details are also amazing. I particularly like the large hovercraft with the extra large glass cockpit there with the two different windscreens that match up. That's a really wonderful look. And let's change gears completely to Jason Cichon. He has made probably the best Lego seafood, maybe, I think I've ever seen. They look quite large. In fact, with the sand green one, you can see how big it is in a hand. And it looks awesome with the few different color combinations. The build for those little legs or claws at the bottom works well. It folds so nicely in on itself. It's such an elegant looking build, and I have no affinity or connection to shrimp in any particular way. I think they taste pretty good. This is just a build of nature that I think deserves a bit more recognition, because it really is a wonderful series of techniques that makes up these large shrimp. Now, staying on the same subject somehow, slightly, I guess, we have the Royal Navy Octonaut by Paddy Bricksplitter. One could argue slightly that there might be a little bit of a steampunk theme in here with the way that Octonaut suit has been designed with the gold and brown probably representing wood, but what we have is certainly some type of alternate universe with the old school diving suit having been turned into a small mechanized walker, and that's how our Royal Navy explores the bottom of the ocean. The builds for the coral reef and some ruins that could be ancient Roman ruins or something underneath look awesome. The walker or robot itself has a nice animated feel to it. It kind of reminds me a little bit of how the Iron Giant was put together, or perhaps the walker from Mars Attacks. It's just a fun looking build, a great looking little scene, and we're still sticking with the ocean somehow with this next build by Koala Yummies. Wow, I didn't read the name of the designer until I just read it there. By Koala Yummies. This is a micro scale build, and it's one of those oil refineries or oil drills that's usually off the coastline of some nice oil rich area under the ocean, and it looks like they've accidentally made a mistake and they're leaking out what looks like metric tons of raw crude oil into the clear blue ocean. I love that you could see the black just underneath the trans blue. That's probably my favorite detail here, though the actual micro build for this refinery or drill area looks pretty darn good as well. It's not a refinery, it's definitely a drilling zone. But yeah, I just thought it was a wonderful stylistic choice to have the ability to see how the black oil is seeping into the clear blue water. That was just a nice, wonderful little effect. Really great job there. And then I had not even noticed that we were at the very end. This is the number 1 build of the week. I don't actually go in any particular order, by the way. I just think about what would be fun to present it. Okay, it doesn't really matter. The last build of the week is The Romance of the Three Kingdoms, The 5 Tiger Generals by JAE WON LEE. So these are 5 legendary heroes of Chinese legend, I suppose, or at least that's what's in the description here. And what immediately jumped out to me and made me really like this build is the stylistic choices used to create the shapes of these horses. I thought they were something that came from Greek or Latin ancient paintings, but it seems so that stylistic choice is Chinese, because I'm actually Google searching old historical paintings, and you can see a clear similarity of how these horses are built in a way to match the art style of how they were portrayed from these old art relics. So there's a lot of self-aware building here. I also think that the muscle definition for these creatures looks amazing, and these are meant to be seen just kind of from the side. So the detailing is built in a way that is going to pop really, really well from this particular viewing standpoint. Also, the color choices and character builds for all the riders and horses look amazing. There's some ones that feel pretty grounded, like they could exist in real life, while there's more fantasy type characters. And anyways, this was just a build that stood out to me that felt really special for the week. So guys, that is going to be it for this episode. Remember, there's a ton of links in the description below. I highly recommend you check these guys and gals out on their Flickrs if you enjoy their content. Like their photos, follow them, fave them, let them know that you enjoy the stuff that they put out there. And also, if you like us, you can, do the same for us as well. Anyways, okay, so thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time at BrickVault. Hey guys, just popping in really quick, letting you know that we do have a Lego web store, www.brickvault.toys, where we sell the instructions, the PDF step-by-step instructions for some very, very high quality MOCs. I highly encourage you guys to go check it out if you want to help support us here at the channel, or the designers that spend their time building some really, really amazing creations. That's www.brickvault.toys. Thanks a lot for hanging out, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault.